You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Oatmeal is the healthiest breakfast after 60. It's good for your heart, digestion, and blood sugar. Every article says so. Doctors recommend it. Nutritionists praise it. Supermarkets stock entire shelves with endless oat options. And for most older adults, it becomes a quiet morning ritual, the warm bowl that welcomes the day. But what if that ritual, done wrong, could silently sabotage your health? Dr. Rachel Langford has spent over 4 decades studying nutrition for older adults. At 73, she's not only a retired clinical nutritionist, but also someone who's helped thousands of seniors reclaim their health meal by meal, habit by habit. She doesn't preach superfoods or fad diets. She teaches quiet awareness, the kind of wisdom you only gain after sitting across from 1,000 tired faces asking, "But I thought I was doing everything right." That's precisely what Margaret said too. Margaret Dawson, 68, was the person you wish you could be at her age. Active, bright, disciplined. She walked every morning. I did yoga twice a week. I kept a food journal. I didn't eat out. Her pantry showcased health. Whole grains, flax seeds, herbal teas, olive oil, and at the very center oats. Steel cut, organic, bought in bulk. She confidently told Dr. Rachel, "I've been eating oatmeal every day for 5 years. I make it with almond milk and top it with raisins, chia, and a little honey. Never sugar, never instant, and yet, Margaret had come in for help with something she couldn't quite name. She felt tired more than usual, bloated. Her weight wasn't budging even with her clean eating. Her joints ached. She was sleeping poorly. And the most frustrating part, her blood work glucose, cholesterol, inflammation markers was worse than the year before. She sat across from Dr. Rachel, confused, frustrated, and ashamed. "I just don't understand," she whispered. "I've done everything right." Dr. Rachel nodded gently, as she had so many times before. She opened her notebook, turned to a fresh page, and asked, "Can we go through your oatmeal routine together?" "Every step." Margaret blinked. "You mean my breakfast?" "Yes," Dr. Rachel smiled. "Let's start there." It took 20 minutes. 20 quiet minutes of recounting habits that had become so routine, so automatic, Margaret hadn't questioned them in years. Where she bought her oats, how she stored them, whether she soaked them or not, what she added on top. How long did she cook them? How much water did she drink during breakfast? The time she ate, the brands she trusted, even the smell of the oats when she opened the jar. Dr. Rachel didn't interrupt. She just listened, pen in hand. When Margaret was done, there was a long silence. Then Dr. Rachel gently pointed at 7 small notes she'd scribbled down. 7 habits Margaret had never considered mistakes. "I know it feels like you're doing everything right," she said softly. "But a few things here might be working against you silently." Margaret's eyes widened. "Even oatmeal?" "Especially oatmeal," Dr. Rachel replied. "'Cause that's the truth no one tells you after 60. Your body isn't the same. Your digestion isn't the same. Their metabolism, absorption, and hormonal response have all shifted. Foods that once helped can now hurt if prepared or consumed without awareness. And oatmeal, while powerful, is no exception. Dr. Rachel had seen it before many times. Older adults came in proud of their clean breakfasts, only to discover that they unknowingly made their bodies work harder, not smarter. Sometimes it was the kind of oats they bought. Sometimes it was the sweetener. Sometimes it was how they cooked it or didn't cook it. Sometimes it was hydration, or storage, or even what they added on top. The mistakes weren't obvious. They were subtle, silent, but they added up day by day, bowl by bowl. And because oatmeal feels so safe, no one suspects it. That's what makes it dangerous. Because while you're thinking, this is healthy, your body might quietly say, this is not working. Dr. Rachel pulled out a folder from her drawer. Inside were dozens of case notes from seniors who had faced the same confusion. Energy loss, weight gain, digestive issues, blood sugar spikes, low-grade inflammation, all while eating oatmeal. And every time, the fix was simple. Awareness, one small change at a time. A different oat, a shorter cooking time, a splash of more water. It's a better topping, a habit revised, a result transformed. Margaret left that appointment not discouraged, but empowered. Because once you know what's hurting you, you can stop it. You can adjust. And when you do, that same bowl of oats can become medicine again. So, if you're over 60 and eating oatmeal daily, this message is for you. Not to scare you, but to support you. Because we've gathered the 7 most common oatmeal mistakes older adults make, and most don't even realize it. Each one has a story, a reason, a solution, and most importantly, a better way forward. This isn't about giving up oatmeal. It's about reclaiming it. The warmth, the nourishment, the comfort, without the harm. And it starts with understanding what those 7 mistakes are. So, stick with us if you're watching this now, and you've made oatmeal a part of your morning routine. Dr. Rachel will walk you through every hidden misstep and show you how to fix it gently and wisely. Because after 60, it's not just what you eat, it's how you eat it. And one slight shift can change everything. Mistake 1, using non-organic oats. Mr. Howard has always been affectionately known among his friends as the kitchen keeper of the neighborhood. At 75, now retired, he lives quietly with his wife in a small home in the suburbs, where each morning begins with the gentle scent of coffee and the soft hum of an old FM radio. To him, food isn't something to take lightly. He reads labels carefully, avoids fried foods, stays away from sodas, and has started every morning with a bowl of oatmeal for many years. Not the instant kind, mind you. Mr. Howard proudly shares that he chooses plain, whole, rolled oats, no flavorings or additives, and cooks them with filtered water. Sometimes he adds a bit of chia seeds, a few slices of banana, or half a spoon of honey. I know oats are good for the heart and digestion, he says, so I've been eating them every day since I turned 70. But there's one detail he hadn't paid attention to. On the label of the oats he usually buys, often steeply discounted at a big-name supermarket. Nowhere does it say organic. At first, it didn't seem to matter. He kept eating, sleeping well, and doing chores around the house. But slowly his body began to send out subtle signals. He started feeling bloated right after breakfast. At first, it was mild, barely noticeable. But then it became more frequent. Some mornings he even had to pause reading the paper to sit quietly, clutching his stomach as a dull discomfort spread. His skin began to dry out, especially around his arms and neck. His wife joked, "Maybe you're just dehydrated." But he had been drinking a steady 2 liters of water every day. Worst of all was the fatigue. Not drowsiness exactly, but a foggy feeling that set in shortly after breakfast. He wasn't falling asleep, but he no longer felt alert. It was like a light mist had settled over his thoughts, slowing him down and dulling his focus. His blood work returned normal when he went for his regular checkup, but deep down he knew something wasn't right. He described the symptoms to Dr. Rachel Langford, a nutritionist who had worked with many older adults like him. She didn't shake her head, didn't question him. She asked gently, "Do you know if the oats you eat are organic?" Howard hesitated. "Well, I usually buy the store brand when it's on sale. It says plain, no sugar added, so I figured it was good." Dr. Rachel nodded, then pulled up something on her computer. On the screen was a report titled, "Glyphosate Residues in Breakfast Foods." "This is a common herbicide," she explained. "Residues of it have been found in many mass-produced oats, especially those that aren't organic. And according to the WHO, glyphosate has been classified as a possible carcinogen since 2015. She pointed to an image, a field of oats being sprayed from above by a crop-dusting plane. They don't wash oats like they do vegetables, Mr. Howard. Whatever's left from the farming process can go straight into your body every morning. He swallowed hard. So, what I thought was helping me might be causing subtle disruptions you didn't realize, Dr. Rachel nodded. After 60, the liver and digestive system are more sensitive. Even small residues, harmless for younger folks, can build up over time. It won't cause cancer overnight, but it can trigger chronic inflammation, gut flora imbalance, absorption issues, and that's likely what's behind your bloating, dry skin, and fatigue. Howard sat silently. He remembered all the times he had chuckled when someone mentioned organic food. Just marketing, he used to think. Double the price, but is it any better? Now those vague symptoms suddenly made sense. Dr. Rachel didn't tell him to stop eating oats. On the contrary, she printed out a list of certified organic oat brands that the USDA and the EU approved. The kinds that clearly say organic rolled oats or steel-cut oats are on the label. You don't have to change where you shop, she said, but start reading labels. And if you can, try checking out local farmers markets or health food stores. You can even find some affordable brands online in combo packs, she added. Whole grain oats are even better. They take longer to digest but retain more minerals and fiber. Back home, Howard opened his old oats jar and sniffed. Nothing seemed wrong. No odd smell. But in his eyes, it was different now. The next morning, he ate a bowl of oatmeal in silence. And it was the last time he used the value brand. The following week, he switched to the new organic kind. It cost a bit more, just a few extra cents per meal. But he gave it a try. After 1 week, the bloating had noticeably eased. After 2 weeks, the skin on his arms began to soften. And after a month, he felt more like himself again. Sharper, lighter, and happier with his mornings. It's not that oats are bad, he said at his follow-up appointment. I just didn't know how to choose the right kind, for my age. And that was lesson 1 out of 7 common mistakes many people over 60 still make each morning. What about you? Have you ever paid attention to whether your oatmeal is organic? Comment yes or not yet below. Because sometimes, the most significant changes come from the most minor shifts. And 1 clean bowl of oats might be the start of a genuinely healthy day. Mistake 2. Adding refined sugar or artificial sweeteners. Early morning, in a quiet apartment complex on the city's south side. The hallway is still damp with dew, and the kitchen radio hums with its usual morning report. Mrs. Clara, 68, wearing a faded floral apron, strolls from her bedroom to the dining table. On the stove, a pot of oatmeal bubbles gently. She leans over, scoops a spoonful of honey from the jar, and lets it drip into her hot bowl of porridge stirring like she's done hundreds of times before. For Mrs. Clara, that morning bowl of oatmeal is one of the few things that haven't changed since her husband passed away 6 years ago. She eats breakfast alone now, but it still needs to be proper. It should taste good. It should have a little sweetness, just enough to brighten the mood. A touch of honey. Maybe some brown sugar if the honey runs out. Or, on occasion, a tiny spoonful of corn syrup, which she believes is less sinful than a slice of cake. Seemed like a harmless habit. Lately, however, she's noticed something odd. Around 10 a.m., she feels exhausted. Not the tiredness from a poor night's sleep, but a drained, low-energy feeling, like her body's battery is running on empty. Her stomach growls sooner, even though she's had a full breakfast. And she starts craving cookies and chocolate things she never used to care for. At first, she chalked it up to getting older. I'm just aging, she told herself. Maybe my digestion isn't what it used to be. Or maybe she needed to exercise more. But when she opened the fridge more often to look for a snack or needing that extra cup of coffee to stay awake in the afternoon, she wondered, is something off here? During a routine visit with Dr. Rachel Langford, her long-trusted physician, known for her gentle tone and judgment-free advice, Mrs. Clara brought it up. "I keep things simple," she said. "Just oatmeal, banana, a few seeds, and a small spoon of honey. Sometimes I brown sugar if I'm out of honey. Not a lot, just a touch, so it doesn't taste bland." Dr. Rachel nodded, then asked, "Do you know what kind of honey that is? Is it raw or pure?" Mrs. Clara paused. "I buy it from the supermarket. It says pure honey on the plastic bottle, but it's pretty cheap." The doctor smiled gently. Many of those products labeled as honey are blends with added corn syrup or industrial glucose. And brown sugar sounds more natural, but is still a simple sugar. Mrs. Clara blinked. "Are you saying just 1 spoon of honey could make me feel like this?" "It's not just 1 spoon," Dr. Rachel replied. "It's how the body responds to simple sugars after age 60. She pulled a color chart from her folder. A blood sugar graph showed 2 curves for younger adults and 1 for older individuals. "See this?" She pointed to the sharp spike. "When you add sugar to your breakfast, your blood glucose rises very quickly. Your pancreas has to release insulin to bring it down. A young person's system handles that efficiently. But after 60, the pancreas slows down. The response isn't as strong. What happens then? Your blood sugar swings. That's why you feel hungry again, crave sweets, feel foggy, and over time, this can lead to insulin resistance and prediabetes." Mrs. Clara stared at the chart, seeing herself in that curve. "And even if you use sugar substitutes like aspartame or sucralose," Dr. Rachel added, "the brain still thinks sweetness is coming. Cravings stay, digestion gets confused, and the good bacteria in your gut essential for your health get disrupted. So, I'm supposed to eat bland oatmeal now." Mrs. Clara sighed. "No," the doctor smiled. "You just need to choose sweetness the right way." She suggested a few natural, simple, and still delicious alternatives. Mash a ripe banana into the naturally sweet oatmeal, packed with potassium and vitamin B6. Finely chop red apples. They add gentle sweetness and antioxidants. A few dates, sliced small, naturally sweet and sugar-free. And for flavor, a bit of cinnamon or pure vanilla extract can make the bowl fragrant and comforting without spiking blood sugar. Cinnamon helps improve insulin sensitivity, especially helpful after 60. Dr. Rachel also shared a psychological trick. Soak dried fruits in warm water or plant-based milk before adding them to oatmeal. The softened fruit spreads sweetness more evenly, satisfying the taste buds without any added sugar. Mrs. Clara went home and gave it a try. The next morning, she made her usual oatmeal, but instead of sugar, she mashed a soft banana, sprinkled in some cinnamon, and stirred it gently. At first, something still felt like it was missing, but by mid-morning, she noticed no sluggishness. That afternoon, she phoned a friend. "I think I feel a little better today." A week later, she tossed out the supermarket honey bottle. A month later, she stopped craving sweet snacks in the afternoon. "I still eat oatmeal every morning," she wrote in her journal. "But now I eat it to be gentle with my body, not just to satisfy a fleeting craving for sweetness." A single spoonful of sugar might not hurt you today, but when repeated daily, it can become the drop that overflows your body's delicate balance. And after 60, every drop counts. What about you? What do you usually add to your morning oatmeal? Share a natural ingredient you love. Because some changes don't mean giving up flavor. They mean understanding what kind of sweetness your body needs. Mistake 3. Eating oats raw or without soaking. Mr. Julian is a man of logic and simplicity. At 70, After retiring from a career in engineering, he built a life that ran like clockwork. No fussy cooking, no piles of dishes, and above all, he couldn't stand the idea of waiting around for something to finish cooking. That's why his breakfast routine had been optimized to the bare minimum. 1 glass cup, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, a handful of raw oats, a few slices of apple or blueberries, and a sprinkle of sunflower seeds. He'd toss a scoop of dry oats with banana and almond milk if he had a smoothie ready. Done in 3 minutes. No boiling, no soaking, no waiting. Perfectly balanced, right? He'd say proudly. Fiber, probiotics, protein, everything's healthy. And yet, despite such a scientific breakfast, Mr. Julian was often puzzled by recurring digestive problems. First came the constipation. Even though he drank plenty of water and ate greens daily, his system stayed sluggish. He only had bowel movements every 3 to 4 days. Then came the heaviness, especially after smoothies with raw oats. Some mornings he'd feel both full and unsatisfied. Uncomfortable, but I couldn't quite explain why. Bloating, little hiccups. Drowsiness that lingered into midday, forcing him to nap longer than usual. I've already cut out everything unhealthy from breakfast, he said during a visit with Dr. Rachel Langford. No sugar, no frying, no white bread. And yet, my body acts like I'm doing something wrong. Dr. Rachel agreed outright. She asked, "How exactly do you use the oats?" He confidently explained how he adds them straight to yogurt or the blender. "I never cook them," he said. "I like keeping them raw like eating seeds." Dr. Rachel nodded, opened her notebook, and wrote one word in all caps. Phytic acid. "Mr. Julian," she began, "in oats, especially raw, unsoaked oats, there's a compound called phytic acid. It's not harmful, but it does one important thing. It binds tightly to minerals like zinc, iron, calcium, and magnesium, making them much harder for your body to absorb." She pulled out a printed study. Effects of phytate on mineral absorption in older adults. The research showed that for those over 60, when the small intestine naturally becomes less efficient, eating foods high in phytic acid without proper preparation could reduce mineral absorption by as much as 60–80%. That, she continued, might explain why, even with a clean, healthy breakfast, you still feel tired, bloated, and over time, could even develop mild deficiencies like low bone density or anemia. "But I thought the fiber in oats was supposed to help digestion," Mr. Julian asked. "It is," she agreed. "But fiber only works well when oats are softened properly, either soaked or cooked. Eating them raw makes that fiber rough and heavy on the gut. It's hard to break down, and in your age group, it can cause bloating, gas, and overall digestive strain." Mr. Julian sat in silence. He had never heard this before. To him, oats were just another grain you could eat raw, like nuts or seeds. Dr. Rachel smiled. "We don't need to give up raw oats completely. But if you want your digestion to work more smoothly and your body to absorb nutrients, better soak them first." She suggested a simple method. Take 1 or 2 cups of oats, mix with 1 or 2 cups of filtered water, plant milk or kefir, a fermented dairy rich in good bacteria, add a pinch of chia seeds if you like, then cover and refrigerate overnight. "The next morning," she said, "just take it out, add fresh fruit and some nuts, and enjoy. No cooking is needed. Soft, easy to digest, and no phytic acid getting in the way." "Will it taste good?" he asked seriously. "Better than you'd expect," she laughed. "Once soaked, oats absorb the liquid, soften up, and blend with the milk and the fruit's natural sweetness. It's not as bland as you might think." Mr. Julian tried it the next day. He fumbled, used too little water, and clumsily chopped the fruit. But the taste, not bad. Soft, easy on the stomach, and he didn't feel bloated afterward for the first time in weeks. By the end of the week, he noticed the change. No more hiccups, more regular digestion. His body felt lighter, and perhaps most importantly, he realized he no longer had to choose between quick and simple and good for his health. Just a little prep the night before made all the difference in the morning. These days, he's still as precise and minimal as ever. But now he's added one more step to his routine. Soak oats every night at 9 p.m. It became a part of his rhythm, like brushing his teeth or checking his calendar. And thanks to one small change, he no longer eats to get it over with. He eats to feel light, clear-headed, and ready for the day, just as he likes it. And what about you? Have you ever tried soaking your oats overnight? Comment yes or not yet. Because sometimes, just one night of soaking can be the first step toward a much gentler digestive journey. Mistake 4. Not drinking enough water with your oatmeal. Mr. Franklin was never the type to slow down after retirement. At 77, he still lived by a daily routine as precise as a Swiss watch. He woke up every morning at 5:45, did a few gentle stretches, tuned into the morning news at 6:10, and then made himself a light breakfast. A bowl of oatmeal with a few apple slices, a handful of almonds, and occasionally a spoonful of yogurt. And after that, of course, what he called light work. Wiping down tables, tidying the yard, or fixing things around the house. Most mornings he didn't drink anything after breakfast. It wasn't until close to noon that he'd pour himself a glass of water. "I don't feel thirsty," he'd tell his wife. "Drink when you need it, that's enough, right?" Only, lately his body seemed to disagree. He often felt discomfort in his stomach after breakfast. Not sharp pain, just a nagging, bloated feeling. Some days, while bending down to fold laundry, he suddenly had to sit because of a wave of lightheadedness. "I eat healthy," he'd say. "It's all oatmeal. No bacon, no fried stuff. So what's going on?" Then there was the constipation. He used to be regular once a day, no problem. But now, sometimes 3 days without a bowel movement. Even with vegetables and nuts in his diet, things weren't moving like they used to. At first, he chalked it up to aging. But when the stomach discomfort became a daily pattern, he decided to check in with Dr. Rachel Langford, the same nutritionist who had advised him 2 years ago. After listening closely to his morning routine, Dr. Rachel didn't rush to a diagnosis. Instead, she asked what seemed like a small question. "What do you usually drink after breakfast?" Mr. Franklin hesitated. "Honestly, nothing. I feel full already," she nodded. "And when do you usually have your first drink of the day?" Probably after 10 a.m., once I finish some chores." At that, Dr. Rachel opened her notebook and drew a simple diagram of the colon. Then she wrote 2 words next to it: beta-glucan and water. "Oats are rich in beta-glucan," she explained. "It's a soluble fiber excellent for heart health, digestion, and blood sugar control. But here's the key: it only works properly when there's water. Beta-glucan needs to absorb fluid in the intestines to form a gel-like substance. That gel helps soften stool, feed good gut bacteria, and keep the digestive tract moving smoothly." Then she looked at him directly. "If there's insufficient water, beta-glucan will still absorb, but it pulls water from the intestinal lining. That leaves your gut drier, your stool harder, and leads to bloating, discomfort, and even impaired nutrient absorption." "And the lightheadedness?" he asked. "Older adults are susceptible to mild dehydration," she said. "If you eat a high-fiber breakfast without drinking water, the osmotic pressure in your digestive system rises. The body compensates sometimes by narrowing blood vessels temporarily. That can cause dizziness. Mr. Franklin sat in silence. In all his years of healthy living, he had never considered how not drinking water after breakfast could have so many effects. Dr. Rachel continued, "At your age, every oatmeal breakfast should be followed by at least one warm glass of water, about 8 ounces. Not too much, but just enough to wake up the digestive system and help that fiber do its job." She offered a few gentle, easy-to-enjoy options. A cup of warm water with a few slices of lemon or fresh ginger, a mild herbal tea like chamomile, mint, or dried orange peel, or simply a warm glass of plain water. Simple but effective. She also suggested adding water-rich fruits to his breakfast, such as a slice of watermelon or cantaloupe, a few slices of pear or kiwi, or a fresh orange if they were in season. "You don't have to force yourself to drink a lot," she emphasized. "Just drink the right amount at the right time. Your body will thank you." Mr. Franklin went home, skeptical at first, but being a man of habit, he gave it a try. After his usual bowl of oatmeal the next morning, he drank 1 warm glass of plain water. No tea, no lemon, just water. That very first day, he felt lighter in his stomach. No bloating, no discomfort. And within a few mornings, he noticed he wasn't getting dizzy when bending over. By the end of the week, he added a slice of chilled melon to his breakfast. Its light sweetness and juiciness were more satisfying than coffee. A month later, constipation was no longer an issue. And instead of working through the morning with a tight, sluggish belly, he felt well-oiled, like a machine that finally got its tune-up. "It's strange," he told Dr. Rachel during a follow-up. "I only added 1 glass of water, and everything changed." She smiled. "Sometimes the simplest things are the ones we overlook the longest. But the body never lies. And what about you? What do you usually drink after breakfast? Comment the name of your favorite morning drink. Because sometimes, one well-timed glass of water can be the best gift you give your gut, memory, and clarity for the day ahead. After 60, every small choice becomes something big when you do it right." Mistake 5. Using expired oats or storing them improperly. Ms. Lisa prided herself on her buy once, use for a month lifestyle. At 70, she lived alone in a tidy third-floor apartment where everything was neatly arranged, part of the frugal, practical routine she'd maintained since retirement. Oats were one of her daily staples. Every morning, without fail, she'd cook a scoop of oats with water or plant-based milk, add a few apple slices, and a small spoonful of chia seeds. Simple, healthy, and above all economical. Whenever there was a sale, she'd buy 4 to 6 pounds of oats at once, pour them into a large Ziploc bag, and store them on a wooden shelf in the kitchen right by the window for easy access. "I know exactly what I'm putting into my body," she'd say. "Nobody needs to worry about me." But recently, something began to feel off. After breakfast, her stomach often felt unsettled. Not exactly pain, not exactly bloating, just a gnawing, uneasy sensation, mild nausea, a hint of heartburn, and on some mornings, a cold sweat trickled down the back of her neck. At first, she blamed it on getting older, but strangely, this only happened after breakfast. Her lunch and dinner meals she cooked herself never caused any issues. While stirring her oatmeal one morning, she noticed something odd. The oats smelled different. Not rotten, but faintly stale, with a slightly fishy undertone. She tasted a spoonful. Bitter. Not how it used to taste. But not wanting to waste food, she ate it anyway. And sure enough, half an hour later, the discomfort returned like clockwork. That's when she finally called Dr. Rachel Langford, the nutritionist she'd met during a free wellness session at the community center. After Miss Lisa explained her eating habits and how she stored her oats, Dr. Rachel asked a straightforward question. "Do you still have the original oat packaging?" Lisa hesitated. "No, I emptied it all into a zip bag. That was maybe 2 months ago. Do you keep it near the stove? Oh, yes, right next to it. Easy to grab every morning. And does sunlight come through the window in the morning? Oh, yes. The light is beautiful. Dr. Rachel gently furrowed her brow, opened her laptop, and showed Lisa a magnified image of a moldy oat grain under the microscope. Ms. Lisa, she began, oats may be a dry food, but that doesn't mean they're shelf-stable anywhere. They can spoil quietly when exposed to heat, humidity, and sunlight. That strange smell you noticed and the slightly bitter taste can be early signs of mold growth or fat oxidation inside the oats. And worse, if mold is present, even if you can't see it with the naked eye, you might be ingesting something called mycotoxins. Lisa's eyes widened. Toxins? Yes. Mycotoxins are toxic compounds produced by mold. They often show up in foods that aren't stored properly. They don't cause immediate sickness, but over time, they accumulate. They can affect your liver, disrupt digestion, reduce nutrient absorption, and weaken the immune system. All that just from keeping it near the window, and keeping it too long, and skipping the best by date check. Ms. Lisa felt like she had let herself down for the first time. She'd always thought of herself as careful, but perhaps, in trying to be frugal and convenient, she'd overlooked something essential. Dr. Rachel didn't scold her. Instead, she smiled and pulled out a thick glass jar with a sealed lid and a moisture-resistant ring. This is how I store my oats at home, she said. A clean, airtight glass jar, kept in a cool place away from sunlight and far from the stove's heat. She also offered a few tips. If buying in bulk, divide the oats into smaller jars and write the open date on the lid. Always check the expiration date before purchasing, especially if it's on sale. Never eat oats that smell strange, taste bitter, or feel clumpy, even if they look fine. And most importantly, she added, don't force yourself to finish something just because you don't want to waste it. A good breakfast isn't worth a whole day of discomfort. That evening, Ms. Lisa opened the large Ziploc beside the stove. Sure enough, the smell wasn't right. That is not how oats are supposed to smell. She took a deep breath and threw it out. No more guilt. That same day, she bought 2 sturdy glass jars and a fresh bag of organic oats. She labeled each jar clearly and stored them on a high shelf in her pantry, cool, dry, and away from the light. The next morning, her oatmeal was soft and fragrant, just like she remembered. No queasiness, no discomfort. And for the first time in weeks, she sat down with her morning paper without holding her stomach. I never realized that simply storing it wrong could make my body react this way, she wrote in her journal. And what about you? Where are you keeping your oats at home? Comment one word that describes the spot. Kitchen, cabinet, pantry. Because sometimes it's not what you eat that's the problem. It's how long you've kept it, without realizing. After 60, the most important thing isn't eating more. It's keeping the best things in the right way. Mistake. 6. Mixing oats with ultra-processed foods like syrups and pre-mixed powders. Mr. Raymond, 74, was lovingly known at the local retirement group as the refined chef. Even after losing his wife, he never let go of the joy he found in preparing meals. Food wasn't just nourishment to him, it was a small celebration. He never ate anything just to get by. Every dish had to be flavorful, colorful, and carefully composed. Oatmeal was no exception. Unlike many his age who cooked oats with water, Mr. Raymond treated his morning oatmeal like art. First came a creamy, just thick enough base cooked with vanilla almond milk. Then, the toppings. A delicate swirl of pre-mixed cream from the supermarket, a zigzag drizzle of sweet caramel syrup, and a handful of bright, crunchy cereal pearls, the kind often found in children's breakfast cereals. "Beautiful to look at, fun to taste, easy to eat," he'd say. "I don't use a lot, just a little of each, to make breakfast something worth looking forward to." And it was enjoyable, at least during the meal. But 2 hours later, things were different. His stomach would feel heavy and slightly bloated. Then came the sluggishness, the foggy, sleepy feeling, like his energy had bottomed out, even though he hadn't done anything physically demanding. Worse still, he'd lose his appetite for lunch. Even though breakfast wasn't large, his body felt full, but in a dull, artificial way. He'd end up forcing himself to eat just for the sake of routine. This pattern repeated itself. At first, he blamed poor sleep or the weather. But after a few weeks of keeping track, he noticed a clear pattern. The discomfort only happened in the mornings when he added syrup and sweet toppings to his oatmeal. That's when he decided to return to the local wellness center, where he had once attended a nutrition workshop with Dr. Rachel Langford. After hearing him describe his artistic oatmeal creations, Dr. Rachel didn't criticize him. She smiled gently, then pulled out a large printout titled, "The Additive Map of Ultra-Processed Foods." "Mr. Raymond," she began, "I completely understand the joy of making your meals more enjoyable. But the problem is that many of those fun toppings are undoing the benefits oats are meant to give you." She pointed to a list of common ingredients found in caramel syrups and pre-mixed dairy toppings. High fructose, corn, syrup, HFCS, disrupts blood sugar regulation, artificial colors, yellow 6, red 40, linked to gut inflammation and mild allergies in sensitive individuals. Preservatives, BHA, BHT, prevent spoilage but may burden the liver. Hidden MSG-type flavor enhancers stimulate the brain to eat more, even when you're not hungry. All of these, even in small amounts, add up over time, she explained. They increase low-grade inflammation in the body, and that's the root of many age-related issues: joint pain, persistent fatigue, even metabolic conditions like diabetes or high cholesterol. "But it's just a little syrup," Mr. Raymond mumbled. Dr. Rachel nodded. "I'm not saying you have to eat bland food. I invite you to replace these artificial toppings with real, natural ones, still delicious and beautiful, but good for your body." She offered a few creative alternatives. Fresh fruits, chopped small, banana, apple, blueberries, mango, raw, pure honey, not the factory-blended kind. Toasted walnuts, almonds, or pumpkin seeds, healthy fats and crunch. Plain yogurt, adds creaminess and supports digestion. Cinnamon, pure vanilla extract, or unsweetened cocoa powder for aroma and depth. And with a playful smile, she added, "If you want color, let the fruit do it. Blueberries give you purple. Bananas bring golden tones. Strawberries add bright red. It's all natural, fresh, and different every day." Mr. Raymond went home, a little unsure. He loved color. He loved the anticipation of a delightful breakfast. But he decided to give it a try. The next morning, he skipped the caramel syrup. Instead, he sliced a ripe mango, added a spoonful of Greek yogurt, sprinkled in chopped walnuts, and dusted it with cinnamon. Looking at his bowl, he didn't feel like anything was missing. It was still beautiful, still fragrant. But what changed was how his body felt afterward. No sleepiness, no heavy stomach, and by lunchtime he felt genuinely hungry right on time. After a week, he realized that rich flavor didn't need syrup or shiny toppings. It came from the harmony of real, living ingredients. And mornings once followed by a foggy crash became the lightest, clearest time of day. What about you? Have you ever tried pairing oats with a natural topping you love? Comment the name of your favorite. Because after 60, good taste isn't just about what touches the tongue. It's about how your body feels after the meal ends. And when oats are eaten right, they're not just a breakfast. They're a gentle gift to your whole day. Mistake 7. Overcooking oats, losing the nutrients. Mrs. Eleanor was precise down to the last detail. At 80, she still cooked every meal, kept her spotless kitchen in perfect order, labeled every spice jar, and folded every dish towel into a neat square. So it was no surprise that her morning oats were also prepared with great care. Soaked overnight, then simmered gently on the stovetop for precisely 20 minutes. Not because she liked it that way, but because she firmly believed food must be fully cooked to be safe. When I was growing up, she often said, everything had to be cooked through, especially grains. Raw or undercooked food that's for the younger generation. Her breakfast always looked just right. A bowl of smooth, velvety oatmeal, gently scented with cinnamon, topped with soft banana or stewed apple slices. She ate silently, washed her dish, and settled into her armchair with a cup of jasmine tea. But what puzzled Mrs. Eleanor was this. Why, after such a careful and complete breakfast, did she always feel tired? Not stuffed, not hungry, just oddly empty, like the meal hadn't done anything for her. And there was always a slight drowsiness, enough to make her nod off in her chair sometimes before 9 a.m. At first, she blamed it on age. But one day, while watching a video about senior nutrition, she heard a phrase that made her sit up. Overcooked oats. She blinked. Can cooking them too long be not good? Curious, she consulted Dr. Rachel Langford, the nutritionist many in her community trusted for her calm, informative style. After listening to Mrs. Eleanor describe her meticulous oatmeal routine, Dr. Rachel smiled and reached for a small plastic model and enlarged cross-section of oat grain. Mrs. Eleanor, she began, oats are an excellent food rich in nutrients, especially B vitamins and avenanthramides, a rare anti-inflammatory compound found almost exclusively in oats. But here's the thing, these nutrients are heat sensitive. She continued, when oats are cooked too long, especially beyond 15 minutes, many of the B vitamins like B1, thiamine, B2, riboflavin, and B9, folate, begin to break down, and avenanthramides, which help reduce inflammation, protect blood vessels, and support emotional calm, also degrade. That could explain why you feel sleepy, low energy, or like your meal didn't go in, because, in a way, the nutrients were lost to steam. Mrs. Eleanor sat quietly. Her whole life she believed in the power of thorough cooking, but for the first time, she realized that this well-intended habit might be draining her strength, not preserving it. Dr. Rachel reassured her, I'm not saying cooking thoroughly is wrong, but with oats, just enough is enough. She gently offered a few easy adjustments. Use rolled oats or quick oats and cook for just 5 to 7 minutes. This is long enough to soften them, but short enough to preserve nutrients. If you're still concerned about doneness, soak them overnight, then simply warm on the stove for 2 to 3 minutes in the morning. Or try overnight oats. Soak oats in almond milk and fruit in a sealed jar overnight. Enjoy them cold or heat them gently in the morning if you prefer them warm. She added a key insight. B vitamins aren't just for energy. They also support your nervous system. And after 60, as absorption naturally declines, preserving what's in your food becomes more important than ever. Mrs. Eleanor went home and did something she hadn't done in 20 years. She shortened her oat cooking time from 20 minutes to just 6. At first it felt unsettling. Not fully cooked, she told herself. But because the oats had been soaked overnight, they were soft. The aroma still filled the kitchen. And most importantly, that morning, she didn't feel sleepy. After a few days, the difference was unmistakable. Her body responded more clearly than she expected. She had an energy that lasted through lunch. She tended to her balcony plants, wiped down the counters, and read her novel without needing to lie down. "Maybe I was wrong to believe the more cooked, the better," she wrote in her journal. "But the body doesn't need perfection, it just needs what's right." And what about you? How long do you usually cook your oats? Drop the number of minutes you use in the comments. Because after 60, nutrition isn't just about what you eat. It's about how you prepare it so your body gets the best it has to offer. A bowl that's just done may be the greatest gift you give your body each morning. Not about giving up, just doing it right. The oatmeal journey after 60. There's one belief Dr. Rachel has carried with her through more than 4 decades of working with older adults. Food is not the enemy. If there's a problem, it's usually in how we misunderstand or misuse something that was once good. Over the past few decades, oats have earned a reputation as a superfood. And that's no mistake. Oats truly are a gift from nature. Rich in soluble fiber, loaded with anti-inflammatory compounds like avenanthramides, full of B vitamins. They help lower cholesterol, stabilize blood sugar, support gut health, and even benefit the mind. A morning bowl of oats can be a powerful shield for your heart, digestion, and mental clarity after 60. But after 60, everything changes, including how your body responds to the foods that once served you well. You might be choosing the right oats. You might eat them every day, consistently. But if you're making one of the 7 small mistakes we've walked through together, even the best intention can quietly turn into a burden. Let's look back. 1. Not choosing organic oats. It may seem like a small detail, but many conventional oats contain pesticide residues, especially glyphosate, a substance once classified by the WHO as a possible carcinogen. After 60, when the liver and gut are more sensitive, these residues can impact digestion and skin and cause persistent fatigue. 2. Adding refined sugar or industrial syrup. A spoonful of syrup or commercial honey for flavor can cause blood sugar spikes, overwork the pancreas, trigger cravings, and lead to mood swings. 3. Eating oats raw or unsoaked. Unsoaked oats contain phytic acid, which blocks the absorption of zinc, iron, and calcium. Over time, that can lead to fatigue, weak bones, or poor digestion, especially in older bodies with slower systems. 4. Not drinking enough water after eating oats. Soluble fiber in oats needs water to turn into a gel that protects the gut. Without water, it draws moisture from the intestinal lining, leading to constipation, bloating, and mysterious fatigue. 5. Using expired or poorly stored oats. A clean-looking bowl might still contain oats exposed to moisture, sunlight, or heat, creating invisible mold and mycotoxins, which quietly damage the liver, upset digestion, and weaken immunity. 6. Mixing with ultra-processed toppings, artificial syrups, candy toppings, flavored creamers, colorful cereals. These don't just cancel out the benefits of oats. They introduce dozens of chemical additives that fuel inflammation, raise cholesterol, and disrupt hunger signals. 7. Overcooking your oats. 20 minutes on the stove won't make oats healthier. It can destroy their B vitamins, anti-inflammatory compounds, and natural energy. Your breakfast ends up full, but your body feels empty. But here's the good news. Not one of these mistakes is irreversible. It's never too late to make a change. And the best part, sometimes one minor adjustment is all it takes for your body to thank you. You can start by simply choosing organic oats. You can learn to soak oats before cooking. You can swap syrup for a ripe banana, pure honey, or a few dates. You can try cooking for no more than 7 minutes. After breakfast, you can drink 1 glass of warm water and feel the difference. You don't have to change everything in a day. Just one thing, starting tomorrow. Because after 60, health doesn't come from trends, expensive supplements, or complex routines. It comes from listening to your body, choosing with care, and living with love, starting with how you eat breakfast. Dr. Rachel once told a patient, "Oats aren't the problem, but after 60, how you eat them determines whether they're medicine or something else." And she was right. We don't have to give up oats. We need to eat them the right way. We don't need to fear food. We need to understand it more clearly. We don't need to follow every trend. We need to know what truly fits our own body. So, after watching this video, what will you change about your morning oats? Will it be your cooking time? The way you store your oats? The toppings you choose? Or maybe you'll drink a glass of water afterward? Whatever it is, please share it in the comments so this growing community of graceful agers can support one another on this journey to better health after 60. And if this video helped you, consider sharing it with your loved ones. Anyone who eats oats every morning but may never have realized something could be missing. Sometimes, one small change can help keep your heart strong, your sleep deeper, and your body going strong for many years. Wishing you a nourishing morning and a peaceful, empowered journey through aging. Thank you for being here with Graceful Aging Co.